Hey everybody, this is Orlando Riggs from the SportsandBounds.com show, and this is the 6 Mix for February 20th, 2013, and I'm going to give you 6 reasons on maybe why you should do a little bit more investigation, and maybe some of this information might give you a different perspective when talking about gun control. Reason number 1. Did you know that gun violence is actually down according to statistics provided by the Federal Bureau of Investigations, the FBI? Apparently, when compared to the last 20 years, back in the 90s, and even against the 2000s, we are on a downward trend when it comes to gun violence in the United States. Check out these numbers right here that you can see on your screen. These numbers indicate that gun violence has actually gone down without the use of gun control reform. And this is also during a time in which the economy has been hit very hard, and yet gun violence is still down compared to 20 years ago. So if the FBI has actually showed us that gun violence is actually on a downward trend, then what is going on and what we're seeing in terms of mainstream media coverage where it's being reported as if this is on an upward swing? This is confusion. This doesn't make sense. So who's really wrong here? It's something to ask, and it's something to think about. Reason number 2, have you realized that the media is pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing for more gun control? And why is that? When the media is supposed to be objective, and when the media is supposed to allow people to take away from what they are presenting and to make their own decisions, why is it that there's so much influence in terms, and deliberate influence in terms of this gun control issue? You know, we have had, especially over the past 15 years, more and more news shows that are opinionated and that are more influential deliberately to citizens in America and to overall society and culture. And this is not something that's by accident, that the most popular news shows now in our nation are opinion pieces. This is actually by design. So where is the objectivity? And why is the objectivity going out the window? Why is it that these most popular news shows are opinion shows? And why is it that now the mainstream media is a lot more deliberate in trying to influence culture and in trying to influence people's decisions in terms of what they think about the different topics here in this country? It's a question to ask, and it's something to explore. Which brings us to reason number 3. And reason number 3 that we need to do a little bit more investigating into this issue of gun control is because what the mainstream media fails to report, and with regularity, is that guns are actually used in many cases in order to save lives and to prevent people from having violence done to them and becoming a victim. If you look at this information right here, this information shows you this is nearly 1 million deaths each and every year in the United States of America that are prevented because people have the guns and weapons in order to scare away and defend themselves against others who would do them harm. What would happen to these people if they didn't have the ability to defend themselves? The mainstream news websites are not going to report this, but there are incidents every day that are occurring. And if you look online and you do a deep enough search, you'll find many, many cases in which many lives have been saved because people have had a firearm to use to defend themselves. But this is never reported. Why is this left out? If the gun control issue is such a big topic, and what journalism is all about is reporting all sides of the story, why is this side of the story suddenly left out? Reason number 4. The media, the mainstream media's excessive overexposure of gun violence in recent months has got to be something that should have you thinking. I mean, if statistics are showing that gun crime actually is lower than it's been over the past 20 years, and then all of a sudden, for consecutive weeks, we have incidents that are occurring in different parts of the country involving gun violence, what's the reason for that? Who's really behind the scenes, and what's really leading to these things happening? We're getting a story from the news, but what's going on? Why are they covering more of these stories? If gun control is definitely needed, and if gun violence is on the rise, wouldn't we have seen these stories all along? Why are we all of a sudden seeing more of these stories over just the past couple of months alone? And so, why the censorship? Why are we all of a sudden, as the public, not given this access that we have always been given in terms of media coverage? Why all of a sudden are live feeds being cut? Why all of a sudden can we not see what's happening, and then we're getting the news afterwards? What's going on with that? And we need to be asking that type of question. When we've had this access before, now all of a sudden we're being denied access of information. Something's fishy there. And it's just something, along with all these other reasons that I'm given, to really take into consideration, especially as you consider this issue of gun control. In previous years, what the mainstream media would do is that if there was going to be footage, or there was going to be something that was possibly uncomfortable for the viewing audience, what they would do was they would tell them, if you have young children, to make sure that you get them out of the room, make sure you cover their eyes, make sure you cover their ears, because what you're going to see may be disturbing. But now we have the mainstream media actually censoring themselves, and this is actually taking away us, our opportunity as viewers to be able to see truly what is going on with these stories. It sounds a little bit suspect to me. And finally, reason number 6, and this is in the form of a question. Have you really done the investigation for yourself to actually see what is going on and to see what these people are fighting for that don't want the gun control versus the people who want the gun control? Are we willing to get past our emotional attachments to this issue to maybe look at the more rational thoughts that are behind it? Be sure to tune in this upcoming Monday for the newest edition of the SportsandBalance.com show on Blog Talk Radio at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And also, don't forget, we have the debut of Fast Break Friday, a new podcast for SportsandBalance.com coming your way Friday on SportsandBalance.com. This is Lando Riggs. Thank you so much for tuning in to this edition of The Six Mix. I am out.